Hi, this is Stephanie Hansen with the Makers of Minnesota. And if you're like many of the entrepreneurs that I talk to, social media gives you a pit in your stomach. It's a chore. You don't like it. It's hard to figure out what you're going to post about. I'm telling you, I love it. I love it and I'm good at it, and I will help you be good at it too. If you need help with your social media strategy or you just want someone to do it for you, I am your gal. I am taking on some new clients for 2021, and really we need to get prepared because all of a sudden business is going to start humming along again, and I would love to help you have new followers and new pairs of eyes on your accounts so that you are ready to take the world by storm. I can do press releases, I can help you have a public relations strategy, or I can just simply help you do social media to get it off your plate so you are not dreading it every day. Feel free to reach out to me at shansen, Hansen, shansenmarketing@gmail.com, and let me know how I can help you up your social media game in 2021. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Makers of Minnesota, where we talk to cool people doing cool things. I am here talking with my friend Jesse Held. He is the founder of Earl Gilles. It is a production facility going to eventually be a craft cocktail room, and you are sitting in it right now, and it's this giant facility that's over in Northeast by Able Brewing, Centro, indeed, kind of on that row there. What a great location.
It is a great location. We couldn't have picked a better spot, I think. We have 17,500 square feet of real estate that we're excited to fill with human bodies who are ready to just jump out of their skin to get back into bars and restaurants and distilleries and breweries. So we're in the middle. I would say we're right in the middle of distillery brewery alley. I mean, we have, there's two distilleries going to be, us and Tyersall, we're literally less than a mile apart from each other. So it's going to be awesome.
It's great. And I have been a fan of yours for a really long time. You are just one of my most favorite bartenders. Oh. And I'll tell you why. Mixologist. I should elevate you, actually.
No, I like bartender. I like that.
You were the first person that, when sort of the whole mixology and craft cocktail thing was coming on the scene, you were at Parlor Bar when I first experienced you. Uh-huh. And you were the first person that was like, I felt like you and Rob Jones, you gave me permission to tell you the spirit that I liked, to let you make me things without like having to order, the vodka soda or all the things that I know to order. Mm-hmm. And you made me delicious drinks. But I remember one time you were like, I didn't drink it really. And you were like, well, do you not like that? And I was like, well, not really. It's not my favorite. And you were like, well, then don't drink it. Let me make you something else.
Right.
And I feel like so many regular folks that there's a barrier to ordering cocktails because they don't know what to order and they don't want to look stupid. And you just were like, yeah, if you don't like something, just tell me and I'll make you something else. Like, my job as a hospitalitarian is to serve you and to make you feel great in my space.
Right. I think that's the one thing, a long time ago when I first got into the craft bartending world. It wasn't like I was cut from the fabric of the craft. I was cut from a fabric of making people feel welcome and not feeling stupid coming to the bar. So I kind of took like all of the things that I loved about my job being a bartender, just meeting people and getting to know them. And I brought that part of it into the craft world. And once I figured out a little bit more about mixology and craft bartending, I knew that it was intimidating for the average person coming into the bar. They didn't know what the heck all those things were and what we were doing. So it really opened my eyes to, bartending isn't about what's in the drink. It's about who's picking up the drink. And And I really wanted to focus on making people feel comfortable and bringing them into the world a little bit at a time, small bites, not, don't put the whole cookie in your mouth, just take a little bite. And I really wanted to focus on customers and guests coming in and really breaking down barriers of hospitality. Like at the day's end, it's all about hospitality, right? It's all about making people feel awesome and feeling good about themselves. And it's not my job as a bartender to tell you what to drink.
Right.
It's my job to make you feel good about what you are drinking. So I think that has always kind of been how I went about my job and my responsibility, I guess, as a craft bartender.
How long have you been trying to get this craft room or craft cocktail room underway?
Oh my goodness gracious. It has been literally, we counted about a month ago. We were like, how long have we been doing this? We've been working on this project. It's coming up on 5 years this April.
Wow.
So it's been a journey for sure.
And you have this cocktail room that you're looking to open an event center. I mean, there's obviously going to be a lot of room for events there. And in the meantime, you're producing product, and you have product in liquor stores, and you have product. Mm-hmm. I just saw some of your ginger syrup up at Lakeside Liquors up in Ely, Minnesota. Yeah. And he was like, oh, you got to try this stuff if you like a Moscow Mule.
Well, that's great. We're doing a lot of everything that we do right now is non-alcoholic. Whether it's a cocktail mixer, a syrup, a jar ginger beer. And we're just trying to bridge the gap from now until we're able to open that tap room and full on kitchen, full on bar, the whole deal. So, we've been doing the non-alcoholic thing for a long time. We've been Earl Gilles for only 5 years, but we've been doing this non-alcoholic cocktail mixer thing for over a decade. So, it's just kind of a natural transition for us.
It's so needed right now. I mean, people are just so challenged at home trying to make home cocktails, and being able to have a syrup or a shrub or a can that you can mix with something is fantastic. Yep. When your room opens, will you be using all different kinds of spirits, or will you eventually make your own spirits?
We are going to make our own spirits, and we will only be using our own spirits.
Okay.
So that's exciting. We not only are we going to be using our own spirits, but all of our NA mixers and stuff that we've been doing for a long, long time is going to be part of the arsenal. So I mean, everything except for the actual glass that you are picking up is going to be made by us, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is pretty awesome.
The spirits, the bitters, the sugars, even the mixers like the soda waters. We're going to make a bunch, not just ginger beer, but a bunch of different like flavored tonics and flavored soda waters and all those kinds of things too. So everything that you're going to drink and eat, for that matter, in our building is going to be made by us.
Will we be able to purchase like this tonic water at your place?
Yes, everything that you're going to be able to drink and eat at our place, you'll be able to take. We'll be able to sell off sale to you all too.
Okay. And then liquor, you'll have to be the 350 mil, whatever the archaic, ridiculous laws are. But
exactly. Yeah, we'll have to follow all those rules. But hopefully by the time we open or shortly thereafter, some rules and laws will hopefully get a little bit more lenient.
We're sure hoping.
That's our hope. Yeah.
Do you have a targeted opening season?
Yeah, I love that. Opening season. I'm going to steal that stuff. That's great. We are targeting mid to late spring. So, that June-ish, July-ish, late spring, early summer kind of time frame. That's what we're throwing a dart at right now.
I love that. So season, I feel like gives you about 90 days.
Yeah, I love it. That's perfect.
So it's opening season. Who inspired you in this business? Because you've been around the block. You're one of the sage wisdoms to
That's
take
kind to say that I'm
steps.
just old. That's very kind of you.
No, it just means you've been around. Come on. Sometimes we got to work with what we got.
That's
Who
true.
inspired you to take this step?
That's a really great question. I think to take this big giant step to, kind of, set aside my nookie blankie, of bars and restaurants that I've been so familiar with for the last 25, almost 30 years, and step outside of that comfort zone and get into something my own and running it my own way and distilling, getting on the supplier side of things. I would have to say the big push, my big inspiration, the person who really said to me, you need to do this and you can do this, would be my former boss, Brent Frederick. Brent runs a very successful restaurant group at Jester Concepts. We opened a lot of bars together, and he trusted me with his bar programs to design, train people, hire people, and basically run them. And I learned a lot about the business aspect of restaurants, and just the way things work. And we experience how things don't work too. So,
Sure.
I would say Brent would be the driving force behind my want and thought of that I could actually do this. I don't think I could. I know for a fact that I wouldn't be sitting here today talking to you about this project if Brent Frederick hadn't come into my life. So
it's funny.
I owe a lot to him.
Yeah. And it's funny that you mention him because I've talked with a lot of restaurant and manufacturing people and just salespeople, just tons of people in my life, right? I've been a homie in the Twin Cities for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first met him, and I think I met him because we were going to work on an event or something together, I remembered leaving that conversation and thinking, wow, this was a really different type of restaurateur than I've ever met. Like he felt he was very smart. He was savvy about his business, but he also seemed really like he got the ecosystem of what it takes to be successful, that it's not just the revenue or the investors, that it's really comes down to the smallest little detail in the dining experience. And I came home and my husband and I were in the restaurant business long before we started doing other stuff. And I said to him, I met someone today that, how you know that they're just one of those people that really get it and they're going to be successful. I said, I met someone like that today. And it reminded me of my husband because he always had this 360 view of things that I did not have. I was a little more myopic. And I just was really impressed by him. And I remember telling Stephanie March, like, hey, have you ever met Brent Frederick? And she was like, yeah. I said, that guy, he's someone to watch. And she was like, oh, yeah. So I'm glad that he inspired you.
He did. He really, when I got introduced to Brent, and he, pitched the idea of, this was before Burrow and Parlor, this was, way long time ago. And he pitched the idea of what he wanted to do in the North Loop with Burrow and Parlor. Parlor wasn't even a thing then, but with Burrow. And the more I got to talk to him and the more that I got to really understand what, he's a former bartender himself. So we were kind of cut from the same fabric, from the hospitality fabric, where it's not about numbers. It's not about, your liquor costs and your food costs and your labor costs. I mean, sure, you need to control those to be successful. But his big driving thing was it's about the guests and about his employees, and how do you take care of them? Because if you take care of your staff's going to take care of your guests are going to be taken care of.
Yeah.
They're always going to come back. And that whole cycle of life in the restaurant world is so important. And he really understands that. He really taught that to me in a more in-depth, more business kind of way. And for that, I was able to do hopefully good things in this big gigantic space.
It's interesting because I've always been in sales and marketing. And one of the things that a lot of managers get wrong in sales is they totally focus on did you make your number this week? And did you make your number this month? And, they were always obsessed about the number and how much business you wrote that week, when really it's a similar analogy. If you focused on the activities of making the contacts, of making the cold calls, of scheduling the appointments, of writing proposals, all of the end result of that came together. But if you just had like one big client who wrote a big order and then you coasted for 5 days, versus the people that kept their head down and they just worked their contact lists and developed new contacts. So I was, as a sales manager, always really focused on the activities, not the end result. Because what can you control,
Yeah, that's 100% right. And I am so grateful and I'm so blessed to have Brent as as a friend, of course, but as a consultant, someone that I can lean on for advice about how to run a business, because he's done it for a long time. And Jester is nothing but been successful in this market. So who better to learn from than someone who's been there, done that, and succeeded at it. So I'm so grateful for it.
In terms of your non-alcoholic products that are in liquor stores, and I know bars and restaurants are using them, you've got a couple different sales channels. Do you have a distributor that's selling that for you, or?
Not yet. We actually, it's funny you say that. That's things that we've been talking about in our recent meetings. We're getting to the point where I think a distributorship partner will help us a lot, because right now we're self-distributor. If someone calls us today and says, "Hey, I want 5 cases of ginger beer delivered," it's me delivering it. It's Jeff Urkel delivering it. Where if it's only 2 guys out there doing it, we are very limited in that capacity. So being able to work with a distributor partner, I think, is in our very imminent future. So we're able to throw a bigger net.
And I think you're going to have your hands full, obviously, when you start dealing with employees and as you've been a bar manager before, how many employees do you think you guys will have?
I think that's another great question. We think that we're going to have, when it's all said and done, with the production, with distillery, with, front of the house restaurant stuff, with kitchen stuff, we think we'll have anywhere between 50 and 70 employees. We want to say.
Yeah, it's going to be too many for you to be driving up to Ely to deliver 2 cases of ginger beer, friend.
Right. Luckily, my business partner, Jeff Urkel, has a cabin up in that neck of the woods. So every time that...
Oh, he does?
Yeah. So every time that they want an order of ginger beer, he is very quick to say, I'll be there tomorrow.
Well, just text me if you ever need delivery, because I'm up that way a lot too.
Sounds great.
Be happy.
We'll put you on the payroll staff.
Yeah, I'll be happy to drop stuff off. What is your best seller right now? Is it ginger beer?
I would say so. I would say ginger. I would say anywhere between, definitely. I would say ginger beer is our big mover. Peel and Seal, our Peel and Seal old fashioned syrup is not far behind though. I mean, that is the secret ingredient for a lot of people's old fashions, parlors and old fashions included. That was the drink that kind of, I've been working with Peel and Seal syrup since I was at Town Talk. And it really kind of took off for me once I got in the parlor and made that old fashioned, and people loved it. So yeah, I'd say Peel and Seal is right on its heels.
God, I forgot you were at Town Talk. How sad was that when that place during the George Floyd murders and uprising became no more?
That was awful. I drove by it probably a couple months ago. I was in that part of town making some deliveries, and I drove by, and I had seen it before that when it was in shambles, and I drove by, and it's just an empty lot right now, and it broke my heart. A lot of us that, you mentioned Rob Jones and Nick Kosovich, and, a lot of us worked at Town Talk. That's where we got our start. The Pip Hansons, the Adam Harns, we all got our start there. And I always said Town Talk was like the petri dish of craft bartending, because we all started there. And when we left there, we all went on to do our own thing and create these other drink emporiums. So, it's pretty sad to drive.
You were in really good company. I feel that way about my time at City Pages, because so many journalists and critics and writers and great authors have just spawned out of that newspaper, and now it's defunct, and it's just sad. Every time I see my City Pages merch, I get sad.
It is sad. It's sad. I'm very fortunate. I get to work every day, shoulder to shoulder again with Nick Kosovich, who as a mentor of mine, and we, that's where I met Nick, and that's where I got to really fall in love with bartending again, and hospitality more so. So yeah, it's sad, but hey, we all get older and we all move on. And
yeah, and what out of the ashes, the literal ashes for a lot of people has been opportunity. I hope there'll be more opportunity, and obviously opportunity that's diverse for people.
Yeah.
But I know when we're up and out of this coronavirus and just this political turmoil and strife, that we will be more aware and better people because of it, I think.
I agree 100%. I think this is a unprecedented time of all of our lives, whether it's social unrest, whether it's political, whether it's, health. It's all like, it's just a grab bag of awfulness. And
how do you stay grounded?
Yeah, I am grateful that I have a great support system at work here with the people around me, like Brent. I have two amazing teenage daughters at home that I feel so bad for, that they're not able to go to school and hang out with their friends. So we make the best of it with what we have. And, it's just, you sometimes just got to disconnect. And I think as much as I want to stay plugged into societal, unrest and unjust, sometimes you just got to be like, you know what, I'm not going to turn TV on today. I'm not going to get on social media. We're going to hang out. We're going to watch Star Wars until we all fall asleep.
Yep.
It's just kind of one of those things where, I love my kids. I love my family. And sometimes we just gotta, do it. Just got to do the family thing once in a while.
You have, with two teenage daughters at home and being in a business that is really, once it gets up and running, it's late nights, it's weird hours. Have you thought about how you will try and balance that with your family life?
Well, they want to work for me. So I am trying to discourage that. I'm trying to discourage them from getting into the industry. But I think in some capacity they will be working next to me, or at least being next to me a lot of the time. I'm very fortunate where they're going to be, once we do open and I do get those weird hours again, that they'll be at a spot in their life old enough to know that that's just how it is.
Yeah.
That's all they know. That's all they've ever known their whole life is dad works weird hours.
Yeah.
And
dad's home Mondays.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I think they're excited to be at the age that they're at, to see this whole thing happen and be a part of it as young women who maybe someday when dad wants to retire, that they can carry on that legacy that hopefully we'll establish here.
It's pretty cool to think about that, isn't it? Like
this.
Yeah, just of what you can leave behind. When you get open, just walk me through a little bit about what it's going to feel like in there.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great question, because I think about that every single day, what it's going to be like. And if anybody out there who's ever been to a restaurant that I've been behind the bar at, I want, first and foremost, I want everybody to feel like it's theirs. It's not going to be a formal, it's going to be a place where you want to come with a group of people, casually hang out, have some laughs, have a lot of laughs, have a good time. You're going to walk in the door, and it's going to be a fun atmosphere. It's going to be very colorful. There's going to be a lot of textures and fabrics. Jeff and I, who are both half Mexican, we wanted to bring in kind of that Central American feeling into the space, with a lot of colors and a lot of, vibrance to it, and just a lot of emotion that we get to connect with our heritage. And then at the end of the day, you get to have a really great cocktail. We're gonna have a full kitchen, so we're gonna sling pizzas and bar snacks out of there, so we won't have to have a food truck. Everything that we're gonna do is inside. We're gonna give tours. We're gonna have, I'm gonna be very open and transparent with walking people through our production space and being able to touch and feel things. It's not going to be a stuffy, it's just not, it's going to be me. It's going to be me. It's going to be Jeff. And we are very open, and we like to hug people, and we like to shake hands and welcome people. And hopefully by that time we open, we can hug people and shake hands again.
Exactly. It'd be great.
But I think I think Earl Giles Distillery is going to be one of those places where, you've mentioned Town Talk, where you walked into Town Talk and you just felt like you're part of the brotherhood or the sisterhood. And I think that's the one thing that Jeff and I are very conscious about, is we want to make sure that we carry on that torch of making everybody feel like it's theirs. And
are you already making liquor?
No, we actually, Jeff is in Mexico right now. Okay. He's been there for a week, and he's going to be there for another week. And he's got a connection down there with a distillery. So he's down there right now making liqueurs and learning processes and recipe development and all that kind of. So he's doing things at other facilities right now. Us as Earl Giles, we are not making spirits yet, but Jeff is definitely active in it.
When you decide to make spirits, or when you do, does everybody make vodka first and then gin? And there must be a trajectory for how that goes. And will tequila be part of your profile with your heritage?
So to answer your first question, yeah, pretty much vodka is the first thing you make, because it is the base for a lot of the liqueurs line, the liqueurs that you're going to make. So once you establish a good foundation of a neutral grain spirit, your liqueurs kind of just can't help but be good. And then of course gin, because gin, obviously gin is made from a neutral grain spirit itself. So if you have a good base with a neutral grain spirit or a vodka, your gin is the next thing in line. As far as tequila goes, we can't make tequila up here
because legally. It has to be from Jalisco. Is that
correct?
Okay.
Correct. It has to be, yep. But you can make an agave spirit up here and not call it tequila. And that's something that we have talked about. It is quite expensive to import a lot of the agave ingredients that you would need to make it.
Yeah.
So hopefully eventually that's something that we will be in a position to do. Cross our fingers, because if we're able to do that, that means we're doing something right. So
it'd be so cool to have like a craft, we'll call it agave spirit program.
Yeah, it would be. It'd be amazing. Like that's something that Jeff and I would. Oh my gosh, it'd be amazing. We would love it. We would love it.
When you are, I assume that, I can't remember if you still drink. I was wondering if you.
I do.
Did or didn't. Okay.
I do.
Because I know some people have taken the sobriety journey here through the coronavirus.
Yeah.
A lot of people got real clear about what they were doing and how they wanted to move forward. One of the things, I am a big drinker. And yeah, just
do you have a glass of wine in front of you right now?
No, I do have coffee, but
okay.
I was always very much in the restaurant industry and, having wine with every meal and really appreciating craft cocktails. And when all of a sudden we couldn't go anywhere and we were at home, I was making stuff, but it wasn't very good. And then I was like, okay, I just had to sort of check myself, because I felt like was drinking too much because there was nothing else happening.
Nothing else to do, right?
Yeah. So I think feel like I'm heading into a better place with that after 8 months. Cause I think the first 3 months I was just so depressed and sad and scared. And so I'm kind of coming out on the other side of that, but so much of the mocktail side, or trying to, I didn't want to just drink soda pop, and I didn't just want to drink juice because that's boring. And how much LaCroix can one person drink? So I really have appreciated all of the mocktail syrups and the different things that you guys make, because it makes me feel like I'm still having a food experience or a craft cocktail experience, but without the liquor.
Yeah, that was a big focus for us, especially during this pandemic. Is a lot. And you're definitely not alone, Steph. I mean, there's a lot of people out there who were in the same boat, where the first 2 months, 3 months, it was just drink. And then they're like, wait a minute, I can't do this. I'm going to kill myself.
Yep.
So that was a focus on us, was to still provide a high quality product. But at the end of the day, to make sure that everybody understands that you don't have to mix it with vodka, or you don't have to mix this stuff with gin or a tequila. You can actually take our product, pour it in a glass, top it off with a tonic water, with a soda water, or some kind of sparkling cider or something that's non-alcoholic, and it's still going to be delicious. and it's still going to look like a cocktail. So if you want the appearance of I'm drinking still, you can still Instagram it. You can, all these things that you're able to do with a cocktail, you are for sure able to do with a non-alcoholic drink. And that was a big push for us, with our Disco Citrus. We just came out with Earl not too long ago to make sure that people can garnish their drinks with a blingy, a bedazzled piece of citrus. It doesn't have to be alcoholic. I mean, those were really important things for us to make sure people understood was, hey, you don't have to drink every day, booze every day, but you can drink really great stuff still.
The Disco Citrus is a dried like citrus that has a gold dust on it. It's really pretty.
So I have to blame Nick Kostovich for that.
It screamed Nick.
Yeah, he's the garnish king. So he brought this thing to us. He's like, hey, what do you guys think of this? And it was a dehydrated, I think it was an orange, the first one he brought to us, or it's a pineapple. It was a dehydrated pineapple that he had dusted with a gold baker's luster. So it's all edible. And it was the coolest thing I've ever seen. And then you put it in a drink and the glitter falls off into the drink. And so the drink is all glittery too. So it's pretty cool. It's really cool.
I love it. Well, I'm really excited for you to be opening in the spring-ish, early summer season.
Yep.
And I appreciate your time today. I will look forward to hopefully circling back after you've been open for a little bit, just to talk about some of the lessons and some of the things that changed based on what you thought from here.
Well, you'll be the first to probably get a little preview stuff. I mean,
I hope so.
We're going to have all of our friends, friends and family come in through the space. I'd love to give you, a sneak peek and do your thing.
I hope so. I've really enjoyed, I feel like we are so fortunate to have such a great distilling community. The beer community is great too. This is a great food town. And I feel, I don't want to be negative because I feel sad about how much we've lost.
Yeah.
But I also feel like to take those losses and to try to pick ourselves up and figure out what the next iteration looks like that maybe is more sustainable, maybe is more sustainable wages, sustainable lifestyles. I don't know. But I feel like we've got all of these great people in town that are ready to move into what that looks like and to just start doing things different. Like we don't have to keep doing it like we always did.
No, and I think that's the thing that Jeff and I and our team has really focused on is, let's do it our way, but let's do it not the old way. I mean, with more inclusion, less exclusion, being more diverse, being more socially aware of who we're hiring, why we're hiring them, just all those things. Like it's so important to move forward and kind of give our industry a rebirth of sorts in a much more happy environment and inclusive environment. And it can't go back to the way it used to be. It has to be sustainable, like you said. And the only way to do that is to take what we've learned and what we did wrong in the past and make it better.
And I think, some people get kind of threatened by that idea. And I've had to examine my own personal beliefs. And at some point I was like, all anybody's asking us to do is just to move over, to slide down on the bench and leave them a seat. Yep. They still have to do the hard work. There still has to be a lot that happens. But if we can just create some space on the bench, that's all that. And think about the people that created space on the bench for us, right? You're Brent Frederick, my people. I just think it's incumbent upon me to just always have that analogy in my head about people are just asking me to slide over and make room on the bench.
Yep. And hey, there was a time when somebody took a chance on me and gave me an opportunity.
Yep.
And I am so grateful for that person, whoever that person was way back then. I didn't realize to say, hey, you have potential to be a good bartender. So, and then it all happened with Brent, and now it is my responsibility to do that for many, many more people.
Yeah.
So I agree 100%.
Well, I look forward to talking to you soon. Thanks for spending time with me today.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it. And I'll see you very soon. I hope to see you very soon.
I hope so too. With a mask probably, but nonetheless. We'll see you soon. Maybe we can
hug when I see you next.
Yes. See you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye, Steph. Thank you.